Hello and welcome back to the workshop. I'm joined by Ben Jones from Heljan. Ben, thank you for joining us today. You brought some of your latest project updates with you, some lovely samples of new models. Talk us through what you've brought for us to see today.
Okay, well, there's a lot of exciting new things happening at the moment. The first thing that you won't have seen before is the first sample of the Class 44, which we announced a year ago, something like that. But this is the first sample of the tooling, and it's with the slotted grills, which have not been seen before, that were on D9 and 10. So that's a little variation that has not been available ready to run before. But obviously there'll be standard ones as well. And we'll have this on show at Glasgow show Model Rail Scotland at the end of February. But yeah, we're really pleased to see this finally coming through.
It looks lovely. Talk us through the specification.
Okay, so this is to our sort of latest standard specification. It's got separately switchable light functions, cab lights, tail lights, head code lights. It's got twin factory fitted speakers. It's got really powerful, smooth drive on 4 axles with a floating centre axle, which means that it rides really well across undulating track and point work and things like that. And it's an evolution of our Class 45 from a couple of years ago, which was a really nice runner, very well received in that respect. But we've sort of taken the good bits of that and developed it to the standards that people are expecting nowadays for new diesels.
So what colour schemes and identities you planned?
Okay, so there's a few different versions covering the whole BR career of the class, starting with plain green as they were delivered in the late 50s, green with the small yellow panels, economy green as well, from the sort of mid to late 60s period. There's a couple of blue ones with the original number, so that we're doing number 1 in blue, and then we're doing one with a tops number as well. And then the final version, which will be available as a sort of special edition, is 44004 grey gable in its final guise, which was BR green but with full yellow ends and lots of depot embellishments on it and things like that. And then included in there, obviously I've already mentioned D9 and 10. There'll be one of the D9 will be available in green and D10 in, or 44010 in black.
So it's fair to say good selection coming through.
Yeah, I mean, it covers all the bases really. Yeah.
And when are you looking at this hitting retailers' stores?
This is the first sample, so there's still quite a long way to go with it. But the tooling is, we're happy with. It's a case of getting the decoration done, things like that. We're looking at probably the end of this year or early 26, depending on how quickly the factory moves.
Now, also in front of us here, we've got a couple of other models. One that's closer to being with retailers now, which is this one here, the O2.
Yes, the O2 is they're on the way to us now. So they should be here in the next couple of months. That's something we've been working on for a long time. Unfortunately, the factory has been pretty slow at getting them finished, but they are actually on their way to us now. We're really pleased with this. It's a really handsome little thing. It's got a real, obviously a bit of a cute factor, but also it's just a really sort of handsome small diesel shunter that we think will find a place on lots of different layouts.
Now the model's also got working lights. What's inside?
Okay, so you've got working shunting lights, a red and a white at both ends at all times. It's got a separately activated cab light as well. It's also got a factory fitted speaker, and there's a small but really powerful motor in there with a flywheel as well. So obviously with only 4 wheels, if you're running it on DCC with sound, Stay Alive would really help. But actually it's a really nice runner in its own right, and it's for its size it's really powerful. But yeah, it may be tiny, but there's a lot packed in.
I was going to say there's a lot packed into that that small package, isn't there?
Yeah.
So when's this likely to be in retailer shops?
We're hoping to have these in the shops in April or May, depending on how quickly the ship gets here.
Fantastic. And that leads us nicely onto the final model we've got in front of us here, which is the Class 153 rail car.
Yeah, this is something we've had a fantastic reaction to since we announced it in O gauge, and then again we're announcing it in double O because of the reaction to the O gauge model. People saying, "Oh, you must do this in double O as well." So we have, and that's the first sample, and we're really pleased with it so far.
This has got a lot built into it, hasn't it, in terms of functionality?
Yes, everything that's on the O gauge model is also on the double O model. So you've got obviously a lot of interior and exterior detail, underframe detail and things like that, detailed cabs and stuff. But then in terms of functions, you've got factory fitted speakers, you've got a real authentic list of lighting features as well. So you've got on the ends, you've got day and night settings for the headlights, which is controllable in DCC. You've got tail lights, obviously, individually controlled cab lights at each end, saloon interior lights, and then you've also got the door locking, the orange door locking light.
Yep.
But at the same time as the door locking light comes on, the red door buttons illuminate as well. So on the doors, just like on the real thing, when you pull up at a station, press the button, the door locking and the door button lights.
Fantastic. So truly is a lot of functionality there.
Yeah, there's a lot of play value in it.
Yeah, absolutely. So inside, what have you got in terms of the motor and the decoder?
So there's a low profile motor in there which allows us to not only to have the sort of really open underframe, but also as much of the interior as we can possibly manage. So you've got separate seats in there, individual tables, luggage racks. There's everything that's on the interior of the real thing is almost in there as well. And then inside the toilet area and luggage rack area, that's where the decoder interface is and the light switches.
Yep.
So you can configure, if you're running in DC mode, you can configure the lights by using the switches if you're running it in MUF or something like that. But also if in DCC mode, you can put your 21-pin decoder in there and control all the light functions individually.
Very good. I notice also just amongst the little details, you also got open windows as well.
Yes. Well, anybody that's travelled on a 153 will know that they can get pretty warm inside, and they quite often run around with some of the hopper windows open. And it's such a distinctive feature of both this and the Class 155s that they were rebuilt from that we thought it would really help to capture the character of the real thing, and it looks really effective.
Yeah, and I guess if you do put sound in there, it also enhances that sound experience that will come out because it gives more space for the sound to come out.
Actually, the speakers are underneath.
Okay.
So the speakers are in the fuel tanks underneath there.
Yep.
So in normal circumstances, you're absolutely right. That's where the sound would come out. But on this one, it's there's two sort of 11 by 15 speakers on the inner housing on the underneath.
Fantastic. Also, you've got a new style of coupling on here as well.
Yes, we really wanted something that looked authentic as a BSI auto coupler, but we wanted it to have a practical function as well. So we've designed a coupling that very much looks like the real thing, but has got a magnetic bar on the top, which means that you can couple two of these together, or you can couple them to other DMUs, other compatible DMUs. The BSI coupler fits in the NEN pocket, so it can be switched. You can put it on a different unit or on another 153 or a 155 and run them in multiple, and it works really well. We've had these couplings, this sample running around with 4 coaches on the rear attached via the magnet, and it works really. It's very effective. And
you'll be retailing those separately, those couplings?
We hope to, yeah. We've not confirmed that yet, but there's assuming that there's demand for that, we will make them available as a separate item, yeah.
How many models are you producing in the initial batch?
So the first batch is regional railways, East Midlands trains, stagecoach livery, Northern, London Midland, Transport for Wales, obviously there's loads more liveries to work through later on. We've had a lot of requests for the Network Rail visual inspection units. We've got the information that we are working on it, but that'll come in a later batch as well. And then we'd also, in due course, we'd like to do the active travel units, so the ScotRail and the Transport for Wales ones. Yes. We've got all the information for that, and so we can do the card and everything. And then the other one that we have had some requests for is Transport for Wales units with the PRM mods, with the large wheelchair accessible toilet. So that's another option for later on as well.
Plenty of excitement there then.
That's great. I mean, there's no end of potential for this model. And don't forget as well, we've got the Class 155, which is all being done at the same time.
Yes.
So we don't have a sample of it yet, but there will be the 2-car units, which will be available in provincial, West Yorkshire livery, Northern, and they won't come at exactly the same time, but they'll be around the same time. And with a bit of luck, we'll have a sample of that shortly.
Now, of course, it's still early days because this is one of the first samples coming through, but roughly when are you looking at it appearing with retailers, and what prices are you looking at?
We're looking at around spring 2026 for release on this, if not a little bit sooner if we can manage it. But DCC ready price is $199, and with DCC sound fitted, it is $299.
Well, Ben, thank you so much for joining us today and bringing in these delights for us to see. You can find out more at our website, keymodelworld.com, and in the latest issue of Hornby magazine. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.